Newly leaked text messages prove that law enforcement and the gunman who attempted to assassinate former President Donald Trump were aware of each other for some time before the shooting. A counter-sniper with law enforcement first noticed the shooter, Thomas Crooks, the alleged shooter, nearly 2 hours before the shooting, even going as far as to text his colleagues about the gunman's presence, according to emails obtained by the New York Times. Now, not long after that, these pictures were shared in the group chat, with the text being, quote, "Kid learning around building we are in, leaning around building we are in, AGIR, I believe it is, with a range finder looking toward the stage. FYI, if you want to notify Secret Service snipers to look out, I lost sight of him." Now, it was previously thought the Secret Service was made aware of the gunman around 60 minutes before the shooting, but timestamps revealed that the gunman was first spotted at 4:26 p.m. He was photographed at 5:14 p.m., didn't fire shots until 6:11 p.m.
Federal authorities have also since revealed that the gunman scoped out the rally site the day before and used a drone and researched how far Lee Harvey Oswald was from JFK when he was shot. The gunman also managed to climb on a roof just 400 feet away from Trump, a roof that was left unmanned. Now, in a statement to Rising this morning, a Secret Service spokesperson said, quote, "As it relates to communications on that day, we are committed to better understanding what happened before, during, and after the assassination attempt of former President Trump to ensure that never happens again. That includes complete cooperation with Congress, the FBI, and other relevant investigations." So a bit of a void of leadership at the Secret Service. I think that some of this stuff signals to me what we've known for a long time, which is the FBI does a terrible job addressing any indication that something bad is about to happen in the country.
Yeah. He has a rangefinder. One of the things you would use that for would be to be a more accurate shot in an assassination attempt. They were paying attention to him, and they were just like, "Oh yeah, should we notify Secret Service about this? Oh, I don't see him anymore, huh? Oh well." Like, what are they doing? This is amateur hour. This is so ridiculous. This is so unacceptable. And so, as you point out, characteristic of law enforcement officials when something goes wrong. We find that there's long history of having identified and noticed the threat and doing nothing about it. Bystanders, people, civilians are more attuned to potential threats than the people paid to keep us safe. With bystanders pointing out, "There's a guy on the roof with a gun. Oh my God, will someone do something?" They didn't know whether to tell Secret Service. It's just totally unacceptable. We are glad, of course, I'm glad that the Secret Service Director Kimberly Cheadle resigned last week after being called on to do so on a bipartisan basis, with everyone, Republicans and Democrats, really tearing into her last week after she appeared at that hearing. This is just totally unacceptable. We need to keep our presidential candidates, our high likelihood of being targeted political leaders, safe in these very polarizing times. We knew that there was an Iranian threat, perhaps, against Donald Trump's life, so that was supposed to be enhanced security. It's just totally unacceptable, and no one should be. And it allows conspiracy theories to flourish because people say, how could they have been this incompetent? There had to be an ulterior motive. There has to be something hidden going on. And I understand why people feel that way. The reality is that, as we've seen time and time again, there is this level of incompetence among our officials and our police.
And we shouldn't
in some cases.
Yeah, we shouldn't be satisfied with Kimberly Cheadle stepping down. And okay, someone took accountability. This is over with. Kimberly Cheadle stepped down, and I believe she should have, following her appearance before Congress, where she had nothing to say for what happened. And that was bad leadership and bad communication. But Kimberly Cheadle is someone who's very disconnected from the officers that are out on the field with the Secret Service agents that are at these rallies, securing them. Who was responsible for training these Secret Service agents? Who was in charge of the response at this event? Who was there that day? Who was a decision maker that ignored this? Those are the people that should be fired.
Yeah, that's a very good point. I agree with that. Kimberly Cheadle, the buck stops here, and the person at the top needs to take responsibility for the performance overall of the people in their purview. But you're absolutely right that what went wrong the day of was not directly having to do with her, and there must be accountability for how those agents behaved, how they assessed the threat, the shooter being on a roof supposedly outside the perimeter, even though the range of that gun was long enough so that you could hit Trump. Clearly, he did hit Trump. From that distance, even though but they counted that as outside the perimeter. Well, do the perimeters need to be expanded then? If you're in an open air environment where you could get a shot off from that distance, why was that building not secured? Why was nobody on that building? Why weren't they, once after the shot was fired, they were able to quickly, immediately, swiftly neutralize that target. So they had the capacity to be monitoring that rooftop. They just didn't. And they saw him. They saw him repeatedly. They interacted with him, and they were just like, maybe somebody should follow up on that.
Yeah, and I have to bring this up just because...
It's like a group project where nothing gets done because everybody is on the hook for it or something.
Donald Trump's going back to Butler. He says he wants to return there for a rally.
Finish the speech.
You think that's what it's for?
I don't know. I think that's that's a good idea.
No, Robbie.
He's we got to keep him safe.
Yeah.
Let's be careful to do that. But
yeah.
Honestly, just campaigning in Pennsylvania is a good idea because it's a very pivotal, must-win swing state for Trump and for what's likely to be Kamala Harris. So that doesn't surprise me. I mean, it shows a little bit of maybe courage, et cetera, to return to the sea. He's got to have a little bit of trauma from almost being killed there.
Going back is a decision. I think that's the way he recounted it at the RNC.
Yeah, he sounds like he doesn't want to revisit it.
No, it sounds like he doesn't want to revisit it. And it's almost
Which
like...
is understandable.
Because the momentum following the assassination attempt is dying down, it's almost like he wants to revamp that feeling that people had following the assassination attempts. And I don't know if that's a good idea or a bad idea. I think people are going to be afraid to go to that rally. I saw someone say, I'm surprised people are standing behind him at these events. And that's very common at political campaign events. But I think people feel a sense of like, I want to be a hero too. Of course, I'll stand
people don't want to be intimidated into silence because of the actions of a crazy person. And also, to be clear, as we're learning more about this person's motivations, and actions of a crazy person that was disconnected from political motivations or goals or rhetoric. I mean, the more we learn, it does just sound like it was a crazy attention-seeking person who could have just as easily shot Joe Biden or any other. Had searched for Joe Biden, had looked to see who is closest to me, and then rehearsed it. And it was not specifically because of Trump's policies or something about Trump. It was in the guy who shot Reagan was trying to impress the actress Jodie Foster, right?
Right.
It was not politically motivated.
It's also one of those things, when I read this tweet, I was like, well, it's not like it's more likely to happen again. If it's happened once, it's actually less likely. The security is probably going to be 10 times stronger there.
Well, it certainly better be. I would not rule anything out in terms of the level of incompetence on display, but it absolutely should be much, much more robust security for Donald Trump, for Harris, for RFK Jr., and for anyone else who is a likely potential target.
You gave up on Biden already, Robbie.
He obviously should have protection too. Everyone needs, we can't have people just being blown away in this country. More Rising right after this. We will continue to follow any developments with Secret Service investigations. Stay tuned.